Real soldiers don't cry. That was one of the first things my father ever told me. I was 5 when I scraped my knee and cried. He said those words. I was 12 when my mother died, and I wanted to cry. I heard those words again. I was 25 when I lost brothers in combat, and I didn't cry, because those words had burned themselves into me. But when he saw me carry his grandson's casket at 32, that day my father cried. And for the first time I understood. Saying real soldiers don't cry actually meant real soldiers can't be real people. I need to tell you how we got to those tears in his eyes, because this isn't just a funeral story. This is the story of how 3 generations of armor finally cracked. My father, Colonel Marcus Reeves, Special Forces veteran. 3 tours in Afghanistan, 2 Bronze Stars. Our home was a barracks. Meals were served at 1800 hours sharp. Shoes lined up at 45-degree angles by the door. Yes, sir, and no, sir were part of our daily vocabulary. My mother, Jennifer, came from a different world. She played piano, loved Chopin, grew lavender in the garden, read me bedtime stories. My father saw this as softness and disapproved. The girl needs to be tough, he'd say. The world shows no mercy. Neither will I. I was 5 when I was learning to ride a bike. I fell. My knee bled. I started crying. My father knelt down, looked at me, and said, "Real soldiers don't cry. Get up, Lauren." My mother tried to intervene, but my father shot her a look. That look meant, stay out of it. So I got up, wiped my tears, and never cried again. At least not in front of him. Losing mother. When I was 12, my mother got sick. Pancreatic cancer. Fast, merciless, irreversible. In her final days at the hospital, when we were alone, she held my hand and said, "Lauren, don't forget how to cry." Emotions aren't weakness. They're strength. Teach your father this. But how could I teach him? My father didn't even cry at her funeral. He just stood at attention in his black suit, eyes forward, focused on nothing. When we returned home after the funeral, he turned to me and said, "Life goes on. Dwelling on pain wastes time. Your mother was a strong woman. You will be too." That night, I cried silently in my bed, buried in my pillow so no one would hear. And that night, I made myself a promise. One day, I would prove to him that emotions are strength. The decision to become a soldier. When I finished high school, my father made his expectations clear. West Point. You'll continue the family tradition. I didn't argue, because I wanted it too. Military academy was the only way to be his equal, maybe even surpass him. But I also wanted something else. To learn how to be strong without losing my humanity. I excelled for 4 years at West Point. Top scores on physical tests. Highest marks in leadership. I gave the graduation speech. My father sat in the ceremony, expressionless, nodding just once. That was his approval. But something inside me was missing. My mother's words still echoed, "Don't forget how to cry." At 23, I was sent to Iraq. As a lieutenant, I commanded an infantry platoon. 30 men, all older than me, most more experienced. The first day, they struggled to call me ma'am, but I knew how to earn their respect, by being perfect. Every morning I woke before them. Every mission, I walked point. Every decision I made was clear and decisive, and I never ever showed emotion. One day on patrol, we got ambushed. An IED went off. 3 of my men were wounded. Sergeant Miller took a hit to the leg, losing blood fast. I threw him over my back, ran 200 yards under fire. When we reached the safe zone, breathless, my hands covered in blood, He looked at my face and said, "Lieutenant, are you made of iron?" "No," I said, "just doing my job." But something broke inside me, because I wanted to cry too. We'd almost lost Miller, but I couldn't cry. Because my father was right. Real soldiers don't cry. While I was overseas, my brother Jake was born. From my father's second marriage. I was 15 years older. I first saw him during leave. He was 2, blue eyes, thick hair. He looked at me and said, "Lala." He was trying to say Lauren. From that moment, Jake was my everything. My father was harsh with him too. At 6, he made him line up toy soldiers in straight rows. At 7, martial arts classes. At 8, learning to build campfires. But whenever I saw Jake, I treated him differently. I hugged him, told him I love you, told him it was okay to cry. My father disapproved. "You're softening him, Lauren. Boys need to be tough. Boys need to be human," I'd reply. "Something you never taught me." Our arguments always hit the same dead end. But I didn't give up. Jake was my chance. A chance to live the lesson my mother had given me. By 30, I'd made major. I was commanding special operations teams in Afghanistan. My work was classified, dangerous, and something I was proud of. My men were loyal. They'd nicknamed me Iron Butterfly. Hard as steel, but I could fly. One night after a mission, exhausted and covered in dust, I checked my phone at the base. Message from Jake. "Sis, I'm joining the army." "Dad's proud." "Are you?" My heart clenched. Jake was 18. He hadn't seen life yet. But how could I stop him? This was our family legacy. I called. "Jake, are you sure?" "You have other options." "I'm proud of you, Lauren. I want to be like you." I held back tears. "Okay, but don't forget yourself." Jake passed basic training, made honor roll. My father gifted him his first uniform. I was overseas, but we video called. "How do you feel?" I asked. "Proud," he said. "But scared too." "Good. Fear keeps you alert." "Listen, Jake, don't bury your emotions out there. Your emotions are as important as your weapon." My father stood behind him, hand on Jake's shoulder. I don't know if he heard me, but Jake nodded. Got it. Jake's first deployment was Afghanistan, near Kabul. I was in Syria at the time. We messaged regularly. One day, a message. "Had our first firefight today. One of my buddies got hurt. I wanted to cry, but couldn't hold it back." "Crying is good," I typed. "Just don't bury your feelings. They'll find you later. Dad said you never cried." Dad was wrong. That day, I wrote Jake a long message. Told him about Mum's story, my story, why emotions matter. I didn't know that would be our last long conversation. April 27th, 4 in the morning. My phone rang. My commander. "Major Reeves, I'm sorry. Your brother was killed in action." The world spun. I couldn't breathe. I dropped the phone. Jake. 19 years old. Someone who should still be alive. Now gone. I shut myself in my room. And finally, I cried. Everything I'd held back for years poured out. Every loss, every pain, every suppressed emotion. I cried for an hour. Then I got up, washed my face, put on my uniform. It was time to go home. I saw my father at the airport. He'd aged. His face was lined, but his expression was still stone. No emotion. He approached me. I expected a hug. He didn't hug, just nodded. "Lauren, thank you for coming. I'm here for my father." "You mean your brother?" "Both." We drove home in silence. Finally, I couldn't take it. "Why aren't you crying?" I asked. "Crying doesn't change anything. Crying makes you human." "I'm a soldier, Lauren. Emotions are a luxury." I pulled over, turned off the engine, faced him. Jake is dead. He was 19. Your son. And your stone. Discipline is how you grieve. No, I said. You grieve by feeling. Mom taught me that. But you never learned. And now we've lost Jake because he buried his emotions too. Just like you. Just like me. I saw something crack in his eyes. Just for a moment. Then it closed again. We're not discussing this. I started the engine. The rest of the drive passed in silence. The funeral was military. American flag draped over the casket. Honor guard, rifle salute, bugle. All tradition. I was there in full dress. My uniform perfect. Hair in a tight bun. Face expressionless. Because this is how our family grieved. Silently, without spectacle. With military discipline. But something inside me died that day. Because Jake's death was for nothing. Not just in combat, but emotionally. I'd tried to teach him that crying was strength, but it was too late. During the ceremony, when it came time to carry the casket, I volunteered. 6 bearers. I was one. The others were soldiers from Jake's unit. We lifted the casket onto our shoulders, descended the church steps. Every step weighed 1,000 pounds. I felt Jake inside. I wanted to hug him, stroke his hair, tell him something. But I couldn't. I just carried him. As we placed him in the vehicle, my hand paused on the casket. I touched the fabric of the flag. I'm sorry, I whispered. I couldn't protect you. Behind me, I heard a sound. Crying. I turned. My father stood there. Uniform spotless, posture straight. But tears streamed down his face. For the first time in my life, I saw my father cry. After the funeral, we went home. For the first time, my father and I really talked. We sat in the kitchen, drank coffee. No ranks, no shields. Just father and daughter. Why were you like this? I asked. He took a deep breath. My father was the same. He was a soldier too. He taught me. Showing emotion is weakness. The military reinforced it. And I learned to live inside this armor. But you were miserable. Yes, always miserable. But I thought I was right. What did Mum say? He smiled. The first time I'd seen him smile. Your mother always challenged me. Gently. Hardness isn't strength, Marcus, she'd say. Compassion is strength. But I didn't listen. And when I lost her, I hardened even more. You were always hostile to me. No. I was afraid of you. I was shocked. What? I saw your mother's strength in you. The strength of compassion. I'd lost it, but you carried it. And that threatened everything I'd built my life on. So I tried to suppress you, because you represented what was right. My eyes swelled up. Jake tried to be like you. I know. His voice broke. And it killed him. He buried his emotions. Couldn't ask for help. Was alone. Just like me. It's not your fault. But the responsibility is mine. I failed as a father. Twice. I held his hand. But you're learning now. It's not too late. He cried. And I cried. We cried together. For Jake. For Mom. For the lost years. After the funeral, I stayed with my father for a few weeks. Spent time with him before returning to duty. And for the first time, we really met. We visited Mom's grave. Together. My father planted lavender. I told Mom stories. My father just listened. One day he turned to me and said, I want to do something for Jake. To keep his memory alive. Like what? A foundation for military mental health. To support young soldiers. To teach them they don't have to bury their emotions. My heart filled. Jake would love that. Will you help? Of course. 6 months later, we established the foundation. My father retired. Focused full-time on the foundation. I consulted from overseas. The foundation provided therapy, support groups, emotional health training to young soldiers. First year, we helped 200 soldiers. Second year, 500. Third year, we expanded regionally. And the most important part, my father spoke at trainings, told his own story, how he buried his emotions, how he lost his son, and how he was healing now. Real soldiers cry, he'd say in every talk, because real soldiers are human. Young soldiers rushed to him, hugged him. Some cried, and he embraced each one. For the first time, I saw who my father really was. The human beneath the armor. Fragile, regretful, but willing to change. 1 year later, on the first anniversary of Jake's death, we held a memorial ceremony. The foundation invited all the soldiers it had helped. Hundreds came. I gave a speech, told them about Jake, how he smiled, how hopeful he was, and how he died too young. But his death wasn't in vain, I said, because he taught us something. Emotions aren't weakness, they're survival. Crying isn't defeat, it's courage. And loving isn't risk, it's strength. My father stood beside me, crying, in front of everyone, without shame. When I finished my speech, he hugged me, tight, and whispered, "I'm proud of you. I always was. I just couldn't show it." "You can show it now," I said. "That's enough." Jake's story was tragedy, but it was also an awakening, because his loss taught us that strength isn't in suppression, it's in feeling. Courage isn't in hiding, it's in revealing. My father changed. I changed. And now hundreds of young soldiers are changing, because we tell them this: real soldiers cry. Real soldiers love. Real soldiers are human. If this story touched you, share it. Think of a soldier you love, or emotions you've had to suppress. And remember, taking off the armor isn't surrender, it's finally starting to live. Subscribe for more stories. We rise together.